Between 1300 and 1500, there were tens of thousands of monks living in stone cells all across Europe. We're talking about winters that were absolutely brutal, the kind that killed people by the hundreds outside those monastery walls. And these guys, no fires in their cells, no blankets, just stone, straw, and whatever faith they had. Most of us would probably freeze to death in a few hours under those conditions, but somehow these monks survived blizzards that literally buried entire villages. They slept in rooms so cold your breath would turn to ice, and they just woke up the next morning, alive. So how did they do it? How did medieval monks actually survive winter without fire? Hey, quick thing before we start. If you actually listen to these regularly, hit like or subscribe. I always wonder where everyone's at, so comment your city and what time it is. Weird to think some of you are having breakfast in London while I'm recording this at night here in the States. All right, let's head back to medieval Yorkshire. Trust me, it's going to be quite a ride. But first, get comfortable. Seriously, adjust those pillows, pull up that blanket, because where we're going, you're going to want to be cozy. The cold wakes you before the bell does. Not the gentle kind of cold that makes you pull the covers up, the kind that crawls. It starts in your feet, always the feet, then your legs, working its way up like something alive, settling somewhere deep inside your chest, that slow ache where the bones meet. You know the feeling, that moment when you realize you're actually genuinely cold, and it's not going away just because you noticed it. Your eyes open to complete darkness. The stone cell around you is maybe 7 feet wide, 8 at most. The ceiling hangs so low you'd crack your skull if you sat up too fast. No higher than a man can stand, and you're not even sure about that. The walls are thick, stupid thick, like arm's length thick, but right now in this pre-dawn moment, they might as well be paper. Brother William, that's you. Been at Fountains Abbey for 10 years now, long enough to know every crack in these walls, every uneven spot in the packed earth floor beneath your straw bed, long enough to have survived 100 mornings exactly like this one. Outside, somewhere beyond these walls, the wind screams, not howls, screams, like it's furious that you're inside, and it's not. Snow must be piling up against the outer walls again. It does that, climbs the stone like it's trying to bury the whole abbey under white silence. You breathe out, and yeah, there it is, fog. Your breath turns to mist in the air, hangs there for a second, then disappears into the dark. Inside, in your sleeping quarters. That's how cold it is. You're lying on about a foot of straw, maybe more, packed tight under a sheet of rough linen. The straw crackles when you shift, soft little snaps and whispers. It's fresh, this batch, changed 3 days ago, still smells faintly of summer, of fields and sunshine and things that seem impossible right now. Beneath the straw, stone, just flat, packed earth and stone. No mattress, no feathers, no down, no comfort in the way you'd recognize it now. The stone floor beneath the straw wants your heat, craves it, would suck it right out of your body if given half a chance. Lie down without the straw and your body temperature would drop like a rock tossed in a well. 10 minutes, maybe 15, and you'd be shaking so hard your teeth would crack. But the straw saves you. It's weird, right? Grass, dried grass. That's all it is. The leftover stalks from wheat harvest, hollow and brittle and basically trash, except it's not trash, it's survival. Those hollow stalks trap air, thousands of tiny pockets, each one holding a little bubble of warmth. Air is a terrible conductor of heat, which means it's a brilliant insulator. So here you are, lying on summer's breath, wrapped in dried stalks that remember sunshine, and you're not dead yet. The bell hasn't rung for matins, prime is still hours away. This is that strange suspended time between true night and the day's first prayer, the time when most normal people are buried under wool blankets in houses with fire pits, curled up with family, with warmth, with the basic human comfort of not freezing their assets off. You get none of that. The rule is clear. Monks sleep alone, in stone cells, with minimal covering, because comfort is a distraction from God, or something like that. The abbot has a lot of opinions about suffering building character. Your hands are cold. Always the hands and feet first. You tuck them under your arms, that universal gesture of, please body, share the warmth around. Your woolen habit helps. Thick, heavy, scratchy as hell, not like your soft pajamas at home right now. This is proper wool, the kind that smells like sheep when it gets wet, the kind that makes your skin itch if you think about it too hard. Under the habit, a linen undershirt. Under that, skin that hasn't seen a full bath in, 2 months? 3? Winter bathing is for the wealthy and the insane. Maybe both. Water is freezing. Heating it takes wood. Wood is precious. The kitchen and the infirmary and the calefactory get the fires. Your cell gets nothing. So you smell like yourself. Amplified, mixed with wood smoke from the communal rooms, mixed with the cold, clean smell of snow that somehow finds its way through the gaps in the walls. The walls, you can't see them in the dark, but you know every inch. Stone, yeah, but not just stone. These walls go down, way down. Your cell is built half into the earth itself. The lower half of the walls is actually underground, sunk 3 feet into Yorkshire soil. When they first brought you here, 10 years ago, you thought it was a punishment, a dungeon. Who builds sleeping quarters underground? Criminals sleep underground, prisoners, people being forgotten. Turns out the monks who designed this place were smarter than you gave them credit for. The earth is warm, warmer than air anyway, about 50 degrees, give or take, all year round once you get a few feet down. Doesn't matter if it's summer or winter up top. Down there, in the soil, in the rocks, the temperature barely moves. It's stable, reliable, patient. So yeah, your cell might look like a prison, but that earth, that thick, heavy, dark earth surrounding the lower walls is keeping you alive. It's a heater that never goes out, never needs wood, never needs tending, just sits there, holding 50 degrees of not frozen against the outer walls while 0-degree wind tries to murder everything above ground. The ceiling is low too, under 2 meters, makes the space feel like a tomb, but that's the point, less space to heat. What little warmth your body produces, the straw produces, the earth provides, it all stays in this tiny pocket, doesn't drift up into some high cathedral ceiling, doesn't escape through some grand window, just sits here in this small, dark, low, cramped little cell with you. Your breath fogs again. You can hear it now, the sound of 400 monks breathing in 400 cells scattered across this valley. Not really. You can't actually hear that, but you know it's happening. All of you, lying in the dark, on straw, under scratchy wool, waiting for the bell that says it's time to get up and sing prayers in a church that's somehow colder than these cells. Someone once asked you why you do this, why you live like this. For God, you said. They nodded like that made sense. It doesn't, really. Not in any way a normal person could understand. You're not even sure you understand it most days, but you're here. You've been here 10 years. You'll probably be here another 30 if you don't freeze first or get the plague or trip and break your neck on the dark stairs leading down to the crypt. The cold settles deeper. Your toes are going numb. Classic. Always the toes. You flex them inside your leather boots. Yeah, you sleep in your boots. Take them off in this cold and you'll never get them back on in the morning. Your feet would swell, your toes would freeze, and you'd be hobbling around like an old man at 35. So boots stay on, wool habit stays on, everything stays on. You're basically sleeping in your work clothes, which is great because you'll be wearing these same clothes all day. No changing, no fresh outfit, just wake up, shake off the straw bits and stumble to matins looking exactly like you looked when you went to bed, living the dream. The straw whispers again when you shift. It's weirdly comforting, that sound, like the grass is talking to you, telling you it's okay. You made it through another night. The morning is coming. The bell will ring. You'll get up, say your prayers, eat your thin breakfast of bread and weak beer, and then face another day of surviving winter in a stone box. But you're not dead. That's the thing people don't get about this life. It's not comfortable, it's barely warm, but it works. These monks who built fountains figured out how to survive Yorkshire winters with nothing but stone, straw, earth, and stubbornness. No fire in the cells. That's the rule. Fire needs wood. Wood needs money and labour and time. Plus, fire in a cell is a risk. One spark, one accident, and the whole dormitory building could burn. So, no fire. No proper blankets. Those cost money. Wool blankets, feather beds, down-filled quilts. Those are for wealthy merchants and nobles. Monks get straw. Maybe a thin wool covering if you're lucky. No glass in most windows. Glass costs more than gold. The few windows that exist are covered with something else. Something cheaper. Something weird. Horn, yeah, like cow horn. Sliced thin, soaked in hot water for months, heated until it's bendy, then pressed flat into translucent sheets. It's not clear like glass, more like waxed paper, but it lets light through, soft, honey-coloured light that makes the cell glow golden when the sun hits it right. And bonus, it blocks the wind. Sort of. Mostly. The wind finds ways. It always does. Through the gaps around the horn panels, through the cracks in the stone, through the narrow ventilation slit near the ceiling that keeps you from suffocating in your sleep. The wind is patient, persistent, willing to spend all night looking for a way in, and it finds it, which is why you're cold. Again. Still. Always. But hey, you're alive. That's more than you can say for the villagers who didn't prepare, the ones who ran out of wood halfway through January, the ones whose roofs collapsed under snow, the ones who just gave up, lay down, and let the cold take them. You're alive because someone, somewhere, 100 years ago, figured out that Earth holds heat, that straw traps air, that small spaces are easier to keep warm than large ones, that bodies are furnaces if you give them half a chance. Your body is working right now, burning the bread and weak beer from supper, converting calories into heat. Not enough heat, never enough heat, but enough to keep your core temperature above the danger zone, enough to keep your heart beating, your blood moving, your brain thinking thoughts like, damn, it's cold. The darkness is absolute. No candles, too expensive, too dangerous. Candles are for the church, for the scriptorium, for the communal rooms where work happens. Your cell gets darkness. You go to sleep in the dark. You wake in the dark. You live half your life in darkness. It's fine. You're used to it. Your eyes don't work anyway when there's no light. So what's the difference between closing them and opening them? The darkness is the same. The darkness is honest. It doesn't pretend to be anything other than what it is, just emptiness, just the space between you and the stone walls, between you and the morning, between you and the moment when the bell rings and this specific kind of suffering ends, only to be replaced by a different kind, because you'll have to get up, leave the straw, walk across the packed earth floor in your leather boots, push open the heavy wooden door, step into the corridor where it will be even colder. Because the corridor doesn't have earth-sheltered walls, doesn't have a low ceiling, doesn't have the breath of summer trapped in hollow stalks. The corridor is just stone and air and the wind's playground. But that's morning, that's later. Right now you're still in the straw, still in the small, dark, almost warm pocket of space that is your cell, your home, your entire world, really, outside of prayer and work, 7 feet wide, 8 feet long, maybe 6 feet high at the centre. smaller than most people's bathrooms today. This is where you live. This is where you'll probably die, honestly. Not today, hopefully not today, but someday. When you're old and tired and your body finally gives out, they'll find you in the straw, cold and still, and they'll carry you down to the crypt and bury you under the floor of the church. And that'll be that. Brother William lived, died, prayed a lot in between. Your breath fogs again. The cold is everywhere now, in your bones, in your lungs, in the space between your skin and your habit. It's not getting worse, but it's not getting better either. It's just sitting there, heavy and present, like an unwelcome guest who won't leave. You could get up now. Start moving. Movement makes heat. But you'd lose the small amount of warmth you've built up in the straw. Trading stored heat for active heat. It's a calculation you make every morning. When to move, when to stay, not yet. The bell hasn't rung. Outside the wind howls, the snow piles higher, and you lie in the dark on summer's dried breath, waiting for the day to begin. Welcome to winter at Fountains Abbey, where comfort is optional, survival is mandatory, and warmth is something you build from nothing but cleverness and desperation. Let me tell you how it works. The bell rings, finally. It's a single iron bell somewhere across the cloister, and the sound cuts through the dark like a blade. 3 strikes, pause, 3 more. That's matins, the night office, the prayer service that happens when normal people are still dead asleep. You don't move yet. Give it a minute, let your body wake up properly. Moving too fast in the cold is asking for cramps, pulled muscles, the kind of pain that'll follow you all day. Around you, through the stone walls, you hear the other monks stirring, rustling straw, creaking doors, the shuffle of leather boots on packed earth, 400 men trying to get moving in the dark without killing themselves. Brother Geoffrey in the next cell over coughs, deep, wet, rattling. He's had that cough since November. It's February now. That cough isn't going anywhere. Probably take him by spring. That's how it goes. Winter kills the weak, the sick, the ones whose bodies just give up. You swing your legs over the side of the straw bed. The cold hits your face like a slap. Your cheeks, your nose, your forehead, everything that was tucked under the wool habit, protected by your own breath, now exposed to the air. It's brutal, makes your eyes water. You stand, your head nearly brushes the ceiling. You're not even tall, maybe 5'8", but the ceiling is that low. If you reached up, you could touch the rough stone with your fingertips. The floor beneath your boots is solid. Cold, yeah, but not frozen. That's the first weird thing about this cell. The floor should be ice, should be so cold your boots freeze to it, but it's not. It's cold, sure, but it's alive cold, not dead cold. There's a difference. You learned that your first winter here. Brother Aldred, the old monk who showed you around, he took you down here and made you kneel, put your hand flat on the earth floor. Feel that? He said. You felt cold stone and dirt. That's warmth, he said, compared to what's outside. You thought he was messing with you. Warmth? This? But he was right. Outside, at that moment, it was probably 10 degrees, maybe 15. Inside your cell, with its earth floor and low ceiling and half-buried walls, it was maybe 45, 50 if you were lucky. 35 degrees difference, just from being underground. You move to the door. Heavy oak, thick as your fist. The iron handle is freezing. Everything metal is always freezing. Metal remembers the cold, holds onto it like a grudge. You pull the door open. The corridor is worse, way worse. The corridor doesn't have the Earth's warmth. It's just a long stone tunnel with tiny slit windows near the ceiling. The wind screams through those slits like it's personally offended by the architecture. Your breath comes out in thick clouds now. Visibility, terrible. Temperature, well, why are we alive? Arsene? But you step out anyway, because that's the deal. That's the life. You joined the Cistercians because you wanted simplicity, austerity, a life stripped down to the basics: prayer, work, survival, no distractions, no comfort, no softness. You got what you asked for. Congratulations, the other monks are filing out of their cells, silent. You're not supposed to talk between matins and prime. The rule says something about silence building discipline. Really, it's because nobody wants to hear your complaining at 3 in the morning. You fall into line, the procession of shuffling, coughing, half-frozen men making their way to the church. The church is going to be colder than this corridor, by a lot. No walls half buried in earth there, just massive stone pillars and high-vaulted ceilings and windows that let in the wind and the snow and basically everything you don't want. But that's later. Right now, as you walk, you think about the cell, your strange, half-buried cell that somehow keeps you from freezing solid. When you first got here, you thought it was a mistake or a punishment. Who builds bedrooms underground? That's for dead people, for crypts, for places you bury things you want to forget. Turns out it's genius, pure, desperate genius. See, whoever designed Fountains Abbey back in 1132, they understood something modern people forgot for like 800 years. The earth is warm, not hot, not cozy, but warm compared to winter air, and stable. The temperature 3 feet down barely changes. Summer, winter, doesn't matter. Down there it's always about 50 degrees, so they built down. They dug out the dormitory area, sank the lower walls of each cell into the ground. 3 feet of Yorkshire soil wrapped around the bottom half of your sleeping space. That soil, that thick, heavy, dark earth, it's a heater that never goes out. You don't need wood, don't need fire. Don't need anything except the earth doing what earth does, holding on to heat from the summer, releasing it slowly through the winter. It's like a battery, a huge dirt battery that charges in July and discharges from November through March. The corridor opens into the cloister, the covered walkway that surrounds the open courtyard. Snow has drifted into the courtyard, piled high against the chapter house. The fountain in the centre is frozen solid, has been since December. You can see your breath, everyone's breath, 400 men exhaling fog into the pre-dawn dark like a small army of ghosts. The church looms ahead. The door is open. Inside you can see the faint flicker of candles. Not many, just enough to see by, just enough to not trip over your own feet and crack your skull on the stone floor. This is the part where you'd normally say a quick prayer. Ask for strength, for warmth, for the ability to get through another day without losing your mind or your toes to frostbite. Instead, you just walk, 1 foot in front of the other, boots on stone, breath in fog, into the church, where it's somehow colder than outside. How is that even possible? Physics, magic, God testing your faith? Probably all three. The service will last an hour, maybe more if the abbot is feeling particularly devout. You'll stand the whole time, sing the psalms, chant the responses, watch your breath turn to ice on your moustache and beard, feel your feet go numb despite the leather boots. Wonder if this is what dying feels like. Slow, cold, standing up. But after matins, you'll get to go back. Back to your cell, your small, dark, half-buried cell, where the earth is waiting, patient, warm, well, warmer, offering its 50 degrees like a generous friend sharing a blanket. That's the secret they don't tell you about monastic life. The cells aren't punishment, they're survival. Those half-underground rooms with their low ceilings and packed earth floors and walls hugged by Yorkshire soil, they're the only reason you're not dead. The church has none of that. The church is built for glory, for height, for impressing God and visitors. It has soaring arches and massive columns and huge windows that would have had glass if the abbey could afford it, but they can't. So the windows are just holes, expensive decorative holes that let in snow and wind and every bad thing winter wants to throw at you. You stand in your spot, third row, left side, same spot every service for 10 years. Your feet know where to go, even in the dark. The abbot begins. His voice echoes off the stone. Latin words you've heard 1,000 times. Words about faith and suffering and God's love and blah, blah, blah. You're not really listening. You're thinking about your cell, about how it works. The walls down there aren't just stone. They're stone backed by 3 feet of earth. That earth is like a blanket, a heavy, cold, dirty blanket, but a blanket. It stops the outside air from reaching the inside air, creates a barrier, a buffer, between you and the wind that wants you dead. The ceiling is low, under 2 meters. Feels like a coffin, but that's the point. Heat rises. If your ceiling was high, like this church ceiling, all the warmth would just float up and disappear into the rafters. But with a low ceiling, the heat stays where you are, trapped in the breathing zone, the living zone. There's even a small vent, just a narrow slit near the top of one wall, lets in enough air so you don't suffocate, but not enough to create a draft, not enough to let the wind in, just enough for life, not for comfort, for life. The singing starts. 400 male voices in rough harmony. The sound fills the church, bounces off stone, creates something almost beautiful, almost warm. You mouth the words but don't really sing. Your throat is too cold, your chest too tight. You're doing the minimum, just enough to not get called out by the cantor. An hour passes, could be 2. Time is weird at night, at 3 in the morning, when you're cold and tired and standing in a building that was designed to make you feel small and insignificant before God. Mission accomplished, architects. Finally, mercifully, the abbot finishes. The final blessing, the dismissal. You're free. For now, you have maybe 3 hours before the next service. Prime, the dawn prayer. But those 3 hours, you can sleep. Back in your cell, in the straw. With the earth's warmth around you, the procession files out, back through the cloister, back down the corridor, back to the dormitory building where your cells wait. Brother Geoffrey is still coughing. Brother Edmund walks with a limp, twisted his ankle last week on ice. It's not healing, won't heal until spring probably. If he makes it to spring, you reach your cell, push open the door, step inside. And, okay, here's the thing that took you years to understand. Your cell is warmer than the corridor, not by much, maybe 5 degrees, maybe 10, but it's noticeable. As soon as you step inside and close the door, the air changes, settles, calms down. It's not the straw helps, yeah, but it's not creating heat. It's just holding on to whatever heat is there. It's the earth. The earth surrounding your walls, the earth beneath your floor, the earth that spent all summer soaking up sunshine, storing it in rocks and soil and clay. That energy doesn't just disappear, it radiates back, slowly, so slowly you can't feel it minute by minute, but over hours, over days, over the entire winter, it's there, a constant, patient warmth. 50 degrees, not enough to be comfortable, but enough to survive. You sit on the edge of your straw bed, pull off your boots, your feet are white, bloodless, you rub them until the feeling comes back. Pins and needles, better than nothing, better than frostbite. You lie back down in the straw, pull your habit around you, curl into the shape you know holds heat best. Knees tucked, arms crossed, head down. The straw whispers its welcome. The earth, silent below and around, does its patient work. Outside, the wind screams. Inside, you're 45 degrees instead of 15, 30 degrees of survival, 30 degrees of some medieval genius figuring out that down is warm, that earth is stable, that small is manageable, that you don't need fire if you're willing to live like a mole. Or a monk. Same difference, really. Your eyes close. Sleep pulls at you. You have maybe 2 hours before prime, 2 hours to rest, to let your body recover, to let the earth's warmth seep into your bones. Modern engineers would call this passive heating, thermal mass, geothermal stability. All these fancy words for dirt is warm. You just call it survival. And right now, half asleep in your half-buried cell, listening to the wind fail to reach you, feeling the earth's patient warmth beneath and around, you think maybe those monks who built this place knew exactly what they were doing. They didn't have thermostats, didn't have central heating, didn't have any of the stuff that keeps people alive today, just shovels and stone, and the understanding that if you dig down, the cold can't follow. So they dug, built your sleeping quarters 3 feet into the ground, made the ceilings low, made the rooms small, made everything tight and compact and efficient in a way that wouldn't be rediscovered until the 1970s energy crisis. Wild. You're living in a medieval energy-efficient home, and you didn't even know it until Brother Aldred explained it, until he made you put your hand on that cold floor and feel the warmth that wasn't there but was there, the relative warmth, the comparative warmth, the this won't kill you warmth. Your breathing slows, your heart rate drops, your body finally starts to relax. The cold is still there, it's always there, but it's manageable cold now, survivable cold. The kind of cold that makes you grateful for small things, like straw, like wool, like 3 feet of Yorkshire dirt hugging the walls of your tomb-like sleeping cell. The bell will ring again soon. Prime, then terce, then sext, then nun, then vespers, then compline. 7 services a day every day until you die, that's the deal. But between those services, you have this, your cell, your small, dark, half-buried sanctuary, your proof that sometimes the best solution isn't fighting the problem, it's going underground. Literally, you drift, the straw crackles, the earth holds you, and somewhere in the dark you hear Brother Geoffrey coughing again, that wet, rattling cough that says his time is short, that says winter is winning, but not today. Not in your cell, with its clever design and patient warmth and the understanding that survival isn't about comfort, it's about degrees, small differences, the space between frozen and alive, 50 degrees of earth versus 15 degrees of air, 35 degrees of hope. That's the gap. That's what keeps you breathing. Sleep comes, finally. Deep and dreamless, the kind of sleep that happens when your body knows it's safe, relatively safe, safe enough, when the cold is held at bay by nothing but dirt and design and the faith that someone, somewhere, figured this out before you. And they did, they really did. Prime ends just as the sun cracks the horizon, grey light, weak but light. After 3 hours of darkness, even weak light feels like a gift. You file out of church with the others, your stomach is already complaining, breakfast is next, bread and beer, thin beer, the kind that's basically water that once met a barley, but it's calories, fuel, you need it. The refectory is marginally warmer than the church. Marginally. The kitchen shares a wall and some heat bleeds through the stone. Not much, but enough that you can feel your fingers again. You sit. Bread appears, you eat, the beer tastes like disappointment, but you drink it anyway. Brother Aldred sits across from you. He's old, 60 maybe, ancient by medieval standards. His hands shake when he lifts the cup, but he's smiling. Straw day, he says. Oh, right, Thursday, straw day. Once a week, you change your bedding. Well, bedding is a generous word for it. You change the grass you sleep on. Take out the old, flattened, sad grass. Put in fresh, crisp, golden grass that still remembers being alive. Your cell or mine first? Aldred asks. Yours, you say. Alho. He nods. Getting old. need the help. After breakfast, you follow him back to the dormitory building. His cell is 2 doors down from yours. Same size, same design, same everything. Cells at fountains are identical. Democracy through architecture. Nobody gets special treatment, except the abbot, obviously. He gets a whole house. But the rest of you, same cold stone box. Aldred pushes his door open. The smell hits you immediately. Damp straw. Not like wet dog damp, more like tired damp. The straw has been absorbing his breath, his sweat, his body heat for 7 days. It's done its job, but now it's exhausted, compressed. The air pockets that made it useful, crushed, flattened, gone. He pulls back the thin linen sheet covering the straw. Underneath, the bedding looks sad, pale yellow turning to brown, packed down to maybe half its original height. You can see the shape of his body pressed into it. Hip here, shoulder there, the permanent impression of a man trying to sleep on grass. "Help me with this," he says. You grab one end of the linen sheet. He grabs the other. Together you pull. The straw comes with it, all of it. One big compressed mat of vegetation that weighs more than you'd think. Moisture, probably. Condensation from breath, from body heat meeting cold air. It's all trapped in there. You haul it out into the corridor. Other monks are doing the same thing. The corridor is full of men carrying armloads of old straw. There's a pile growing near the door. Later, someone will take it to the livestock. The cows don't care if the straw is flat. They'll eat it, or sleep on it, or do whatever cows do. Waste not. Back in Aldred's cell, the floor looks naked, just packed earth. Dark brown, almost black in the shadows. You can see the slight depression where the straw used to be. Years of sleeping in the same spot, pressing down, down, down into the earth. New batches in the barn, Aldred says. You head out, across the cloister, past the chapter house. The barn is on the east side of the complex. Big wooden building that smells like animals and hay and all the things that keep a monastery running. The fresh straw is piled in one corner, huge bales of it, golden, dry, still carrying that summer smell. You grab an armful. It's scratchy against your hands. The stalks poke through your habit, prickling your skin. Back to Aldred's cell. You dump the straw on the floor. Go back for more. 3 trips. 4. You need about a foot of straw, 12 inches of compressed grass between body and stone. Any less, and the cold wins. Aldred joins you on the second trip. His arms are full of straw, stalks sticking out in every direction like he's wearing a gold cloak made of grass. You look ridiculous, you tell him. You look cold, he shoots back. Fair point. By the 4th trip, you've got enough. The pile in his cell comes up to your shins. You spread it around, even it out, pack it down with your boots, not too hard. You want to keep those air pockets, but hard enough that it won't shift too much when he lies on it. The smell. God, the smell. Fresh straw smells like fields, like sunshine captured in plant form, like summer died and left its ghost in these hollow stalks. It's almost worth the work just to have that smell in your nose instead of damp wool and unwashed monks. Aldred spreads the linen sheet over the top, smooths it down. The straw crackles underneath. Little pops and snaps as the stalks compress slightly, settle into place, find their new shape. There, he says, good for another week. He sits on the edge, tests it, bounces slightly. The straw rustles, that soft whispering sound, like leaves in autumn, like grass in a summer breeze, like something alive even though it's dead. Not bad, he says. Your turn, back to your cell. Pull off the old straw. It looks terrible. A week of use has turned it into a flat, pale, lifeless mat. You can smell yourself in it. 7 nights of breathing, of body heat, of whatever it is humans shed when they sleep. Out to the corridor. Add it to the growing pile. Back to the barn, grab fresh straw, 1 armload, 2, 3, 4. Your arms scratched from the stalks, your hands ache, but you keep going. The fresh straw fills your cell, transforms it. Suddenly it doesn't look like a prison or a tomb. It looks like, not comfortable exactly, but manageable, survivable, like someone actually lives here instead of just endures here. You spread it around, pack it down. The golden colour brightens the whole space. Even in the grey morning light coming through the horn window, the straw glows, reflects light, makes everything seem less dire. The linen sheet goes on top. You smooth it down. The straw crackles its approval. You sit. Oh, that's better. The old straw was dead, used up. This new straw has life in it. Spring. Give. When you shift your weight, it compresses but doesn't collapse. The stalks bend but don't break. And that sound, that soft crackling rustle, it's weirdly comforting, like the straw is saying, I've got you, you lie back. Test it properly. Your body sinks in maybe an inch, 2 inches. Then the straw pushes back, supports you, holds you up just enough that you're not lying directly on cold stone. Your back knows the difference immediately. 7 days on flattened straw means 7 nights of every knot, every bump in the earth floor pressing into your spine. This fresh straw smooths all that out, creates a buffer, a cushion. Not a mattress. Don't get carried away. This is still grass, dried grass. You're still sleeping on farm waste, but it's clean farm waste, fresh farm waste, the kind that traps warm air in 10,000 hollow stalks and keeps your body heat from bleeding straight into the earth below. You breathe in. That summer smell fills your nose, your lungs. It's ridiculous how good it smells. How much better this is than the rank, damp grass you woke up on this morning. The thing is, this is science. You didn't know that 10 years ago, but you know it now. Brother Aldred explained it. Those hollow stalks, each one is a tiny air pocket. Air doesn't conduct heat well, which means it insulates, traps warmth, keeps the cold earth away from your warm body. Stack 12 inches of these hollow stalks together and you've got something approaching a real insulator. Not as good as wool, not as good as down, but way better than nothing, way better than sleeping directly on stone. Some scholar somewhere probably measured this, probably figured out that straw bedding can raise your sleeping temperature by 20 degrees compared to bare ground. You don't know the exact number, don't need to. You know it works. You've survived 10 winters on nothing but this. You sit up, run your hand through the straw. It's crisp, dry. The stalks snap between your fingers. Good. That means they're fresh, full of trapped air, ready to do their job for the next 7 days. By next Thursday, they'll be flat, damp, tired, but for now, they're perfect. Brother Edmund appears in your doorway. His ankle is worse. He's basically hopping on 1 foot, using the wall for support. Need help, you ask? Obviously, he says. You spend the next hour helping him, out with the old straw, in with the new. He can barely walk, let alone haul armloads of grass across the cloister. So you do it, because that's how this works. You help each other, survive together, or die separately. Edmund's cell smells worse than yours. He's been sweating through the pain. The old straw reeks of sick sweat and suffering. You try not to gag as you haul it out. Fresh straw goes in. You pack it carefully, extra thick under where his bad ankle will rest. Every little bit of cushioning helps when you're injured. Thank you, he says when you're done. You nod. No words needed. Back in the corridor, the pile of old straw has grown into a small mountain. Brothers Robert and John are already loading it onto a cart. They'll haul it to the barn. The cows will get it. The cycle continues. Nothing wasted, everything used. That's monastery life. That's survival when you have no money, no waste, no room for inefficiency. You head back to your cell, sit on the edge of your fresh straw bed. The day is still young, you have work to do. The garden needs attention, the cloister needs sweeping, 100 small tasks that keep the abbey running. But for a moment, you just sit, breathe in that summer smell, feel the firm support of fresh grass under you, listen to the soft crackling as it settles. This is your mattress, your bed, your entire sleeping situation for the next 7 days. A foot of dried wheat stalks covered by rough linen. That's it. That's what stands between you and a stone floor that wants to suck the heat from your bones. And you know what? It's enough. Not great, not comfortable in any modern sense. You're not sinking into memory foam here, not enjoying the support of individually wrapped coils, not experiencing the temperature regulation of fancy gel layers. You're lying on grass, but it's good grass, fresh grass, grass that knows its job and does it without complaining, unlike you who complains constantly, in your head where nobody can hear. The bell rings for terce, 3rd hour, time for more prayer, more standing in the cold church, more singing psalms in Latin while your breath fogs and your toes go numb. You stand, brush the stray stalks off your habit, a few pieces of straw stick to the wool, evidence of your morning's work. You don't bother pulling them off. Everyone will have straw on them today. Thursday, straw day, might as well wear it like a badge. Out into the corridor, the other monks are emerging from their cells, fresh straw in everyone's rooms. The whole dormitory smells like summer again, like fields, like life. Brother Geoffrey is still coughing, but he's smiling. New straw does that, gives you a little burst of hope, a reminder that things can be better. That comfort, even small comfort, still exists. You join the line heading to church, the procession of men who sleep on grass, wear wool that itches, eat bread that's mostly air, and somehow call this living, but you're alive. That's the point. You're alive because someone figured out that grass traps air, air traps heat, and heat means survival. You're alive because every Thursday, without fail, you haul out the old and bring in the new. Refresh. Reset. Give yourself another week of not freezing to death in your sleep. It's not glamorous, but it works, and tonight, when you lie down in that fresh straw, when it crackles softly under your weight and whispers its summer promises, when you smell fields instead of damp and feel the give of living stalks instead of dead matting, you'll remember why you do this. Not for God, not really, for survival. For the small comfort of fresh grass, for the knowledge that you figured out how to not die, for the simple fact that human beings are incredibly good at making the best of terrible situations. You sleep on trash, agricultural waste, the leftover bits of wheat harvest that nobody wants, and you've turned it into a survival tool, a bed, a barrier between you and certain death. That's kind of amazing, actually. Also kind of sad, but mostly amazing. The church looms ahead, cold stone, high ceilings, another hour of your life spent standing and singing and trying not to think about how much better your cell is now, how tonight, after Compline, after the final service, you'll get to return to that golden grass and sleep like someone who earned it, which you did. You absolutely did. By hauling literal tons of grass around all morning like some kind of medieval furniture mover. Your back will remind you of this later, your arms too, but that's fine, that's the price. Fresh straw, 7 more nights of decent sleep, 7 more mornings of waking up on something that still remembers being alive. Worth it, totally worth it. You step into the church, find your spot, 3rd row, left side, home. The service begins, Latin words, familiar tunes, the routine of prayer. But your mind is back in your cell, on that fresh straw, already looking forward to tonight, to lying down in the rustling gold, to hearing those soft crackles, to breathing in that summer smell. Small things, that's what survival is. Small things done consistently Old straw out, new straw in, every week, without fail, for the rest of your life, until you're too old to do it yourself, until you're like Aldred needing help, until younger monks have to haul your straw for you. And then, eventually, until there's no straw at all, just the crypt, the final underground room, the one you don't wake up from, but that's later, much later. For now, you've got fresh straw, you've got 7 more nights, you've got another week of survival ahead of you. And honestly, in February, in Yorkshire, in a half-buried cell in a medieval monastery, that's about as good as it gets. The singing rises, 400 voices, the sound fills the stone space. You join in, mouth the words, let the rhythm carry you, and somewhere in your cell the straw waits, patient, ready, holding summer in its hollow heart, waiting to cradle you tonight. Grass, just grass. But also survival, also home. Midday hits different in winter. The sun actually shows up, climbs high enough to be useful. For maybe 4 hours, you get real light instead of that grey pre-dawn sadness. You're in the scriptorium when it happens, the moment when the sun finally angles through the east window and everything changes. The room goes gold, not bright gold, not sunshine through glass gold, honey gold, warm gold, the colour of light that's been filtered through something alive. Or something that used to be alive. The horn windows. Brother Paul looks up from his copying work, squints at the light. Best part of the day, he says. He's right. The scriptorium has 3 windows, east wall, each one maybe 2 feet wide, 3 feet tall, big enough to work by, small enough to not let all the heat escape, and instead of glass, which costs more than the entire abbey's annual income, they're filled with horn. Cow horn, flattened, polished, set into wooden frames like the world's weirdest stained glass. You walk over to the nearest window, put your hand near it, not touching, just close. The wind is howling outside. You can hear it, but you can't feel it. The horn blocks it, mostly. There's a slight draft around the edges where the wooden frame doesn't quite seal, but nothing like an open window would be. The light coming through is soft, diffused, like looking through waxed paper, but thicker, more substantial. You can see shapes outside, movement, but no details, just suggestions of trees, snow, sky. Brother Paul joins you. Amazing, isn't it? Cost practically nothing. Some farmer donated his dead cow's horns. Brother Marcus did the work. Marcus made these 3 years ago. Took him all summer, soaking, splitting, flattening, pain in the arse apparently. But look at it. You look. The horn is pale yellow, almost cream-coloured, translucent enough to let light through but not transparent. It's like the cow's horn is catching the sunlight, filtering it, warming it, then releasing it into the room, gentle, controlled. Without these windows, the scriptorium would be dark, unusable. You'd need candles all day. Candles cost money, burn out, create fire risk. With horn windows, you get free light for hours, not perfect light, but enough to read by, enough to copy manuscripts, enough to see what you're doing. Glass would be better, Paul says. Glass would bankrupt us. True. Glass is for cathedrals, for wealthy monasteries, for places with rich patrons who think buying windows buys them heaven. Fountains has wool money, sheep money, but not glass money, never glass money. So, horn. You've seen the process, watched Brother Marcus work. It's not complicated, just tedious, time-consuming, the kind of work that makes you question your life choices. First, you get the horns, fresh from a dead cow, still bloody, still attached to bone. You cut them off at the base, set the skull aside for soup or whatever. The horns are your prize, then you soak them, hot water, for months. 3 months, usually. The horn is made of layers, keratin, same stuff as fingernails. Those layers need to soften, separate, become workable. After 3 months of soaking, the horn starts to come apart. You can peel the outer layer off the inner core. That inner core, useless. Bone. You throw it away. But the outer layer, the keratin shell, that's gold. Literally, that's your window. Next, you heat it. Not boiling, just hot. Hot enough to make the keratin pliable, bendy, like really thick leather that's been left in the sun. You work fast because you've only got a few minutes before it cools and hardens again. You split it lengthwise, cut along the natural curve, then you press it flat. Marcus used heated iron plates, set the horn between them, pressed down with all his weight, held it there until the horn cooled into its new shape, flat, thin, translucent. The thinner you press it, the more light it lets through, but also the weaker it gets. Too thin and it cracks, shatters, useless. Too thick and it's basically just yellow wall, no light, defeats the purpose. Marcus found the sweet spot, thin enough to glow, thick enough to last. Each panel is maybe 1/8 of an inch thick. Flexible, slightly wavy, imperfect, beautiful. The wooden frame holds 6 panels per window. Each panel overlaps the next slightly, like shingles. If one cracks, you replace just that one. Don't have to redo the whole window. Smart design, practical. You run your finger along the edge of one panel, smooth, cool to the touch despite the sunlight. The surface has a slight texture, not quite polished, not quite rough, somewhere in between, like touching a really thick piece of parchment. Cold outside? Paul asks. Freezing. Can't tell in here. He's right. The scriptorium feels warm. Well, warm compared to the corridor. The horn windows block the wind. That's huge. Wind is the killer. Wind cuts through stone, through clothing, through skin, makes everything 10 times colder than it actually is. But wind can't cut through a 1/4 inch of pressed keratin. It tries. You can hear it trying, whistling around the frame, looking for gaps, finding a few, but mostly it fails. Mostly, the horn holds. The light shifts. The sun must be moving behind a cloud. The golden glow dims slightly, then comes back, brighter. The horn catches it, transforms it, releases it into the room like a gift. Brother Thomas looks up from his manuscript. Can barely see, he complains. It's midday, you tell him. This is as good as it gets. Should have been a summer monk. You laugh. Summer monks. That's not a thing. But it should be. Show up in May, leave in September, skip all this frozen hell, come back when the world is warm and green and doesn't hate you. Thomas goes back to his copying. He's working on a psalter, religious text, important work. The kind of thing that requires steady hands and good light. He squints at the vellum, dips his quill, makes careful letters in iron gall ink. One mistake, and he has to scrape it off. Start over. Vellum is expensive. Calfskin stretched and scraped and treated until it's smooth enough to write on. You don't waste it. Can't waste it. The horn windows make this work possible. Without them, Thomas would be hunched over a candle, straining his eyes, rushing before the flame guttered out. With them, he has hours. Steady, reliable, free light. Not perfect, never perfect, but good enough. That's the monastery motto, really. Good enough. Not great, not comfortable, not ideal, just barely sufficient. Just enough to survive and do the work and not die in the process. You leave the scriptorium, head back to your cell. The corridor is dark compared to the golden glow you just left. Your eyes take a moment to adjust. Your cell has one window, small, maybe 18 inches square, same horn design, 3 panels in a wooden frame. The light coming through is weak. The sun doesn't hit this side of the building directly until late afternoon, but it's still light, still better than darkness. And the horn still blocks the wind, which is really the point. You sit on your fresh straw bed, face the window, watch the pale yellow glow. It's like having a piece of the sun trapped in dead cow parts, which sounds disgusting when you say it like that. But it's true, and it works. The thing people don't understand about medieval survival is how much of it is just making do. You can't afford glass? Fine. Use horn. Can't afford proper beds? Use straw. Can't afford fireplaces in every room? Build underground and let the earth do the work. It's all about substitution, finding alternatives, taking what you have and making it do what you need. The horn isn't as clear as glass, doesn't let in as much light, but it's stronger, doesn't shatter if a bird flies into it, doesn't break if the wooden frame shifts. It's basically free. Dead cows donate their horns whether they want to or not. You lie back on the straw, stare at your window. The light is changing, the sun is moving. In a few hours it'll angle in differently, hit the horn from the side, make the whole panel glow like a lantern. The wind picks up, you hear it, but you don't feel it. The horn holds, does its job, blocks the wind while letting light sneak through. That's the magic. That's the trick, being both barrier and window at the same time. Glass would do this better, obviously. Glass is clear, lets in more light, looks fancier, but glass would also cost more than your cell, your straw, your habit, and your entire 10 years of living here combined. Glass is for rich people, for churches that want to show off, for cathedrals with stained glass windows that tell Bible stories in coloured light. You get cow horn. And you know what? That's fine. That's more than fine, because right now, in February, with snow piling up outside and wind trying to kill everything, that thin sheet of pressed keratin is keeping your cell from being a wind tunnel, is letting enough light in that you can see your own hands, is proving that sometimes the cheap solution is the smart solution. Glass breaks, horn bends, glass shatters in storms, horn flexes. Glass costs a fortune, horn costs a dead cow and 3 months of soaking and Brother Marcus's patience. The choice is obvious. You close your eyes, the light through your eyelids is orangish, warmish, the kind of light that makes you think maybe spring will come eventually. The straw crackles under you. The horn glows in its frame. The earth holds its patient 50 degrees around and below your walls. The bell rings for sext, 6th hour, midday prayer, time to leave your glowing cell and head back to the frozen church, time to stand and sing and freeze your toes off again. But tonight, after Compline, you'll come back, and the evening light will hit your horn window just right. And the whole cell will glow like the inside of a lantern, like you're living inside a piece of amber, like the cow that donated its horns decided to give you one last gift from beyond the grave. Thanks, cow. Seriously, your horns are keeping me from going insane in the dark. Your leftover body parts are making my life bearable. I don't know your name, probably something boring like Bessie, but you died so I could have light and warmth and the ability to see my own hand in front of my face. That's worth something. That's worth everything, actually. You stand, brush off stray straw, head to the door. The corridor is waiting, cold, dark. The church is waiting, colder, darker, but you'll be back in a few hours and the light will still be here, filtered through horn, golden, warm, patient, waiting for you. Like everything else in this place, the earth, the straw, the horn, all of it waiting, doing its job, keeping you alive one more day. You join the line of monks heading to prayer. Brother Paul is ahead of you, Brother Thomas behind, all of you moving through the dark corridors toward the darker church, all of you leaving behind the golden glow of horn windows for the cold stone reality of worship. But you'll be back. The light will wait. And tonight, when the sun angles in just right, your cell will transform, will become something almost magical, almost beautiful, almost comfortable, almost. But almost is enough. Always has been. Sext drags on forever. The usual psalms, the usual responses. Your mind wanders back to that golden light in the scriptorium, to the way horn transforms sunshine into something gentler, something manageable. Brother Edmund is missing from his spot. The bad ankle, probably, or maybe the fever that comes with infection. Either way, he's not here. His absence is noticeable. There are always absences in winter. Brothers who don't make it to services, who stay in their cells, who stop showing up one day and never come back. The service ends. You file out, back to work. The afternoon stretches ahead. You have a task. Brother Aldred assigned it this morning. Mending books in the library. The bindings are falling apart. Winter damp does that. Makes the glue brittle. The leather stiff. Pages start to separate. Someone has to fix them. That someone is you. The library is off the east side of the cloister. Small room. Maybe 20 feet square. Shelves on 3 walls. 1 window. Horn, obviously. The same golden glow you saw in the scriptorium. You settle at the work table. The damaged book is already there. A collection of saints' lives. Old, important, falling apart. The spine is cracked. Pages are loose. Thread showing through where the binding used to hold. You need light for this. Need to see what you're doing. Thread is thin. Needle is small. One wrong move and you'll stab yourself or miss the hole entirely. The horn window is your ally here. You position yourself so the light falls directly on your work. The golden glow illuminates the pages, shows you every detail, every crack, every place where thread has worn through. Your hands work slowly, carefully, threading the needle, punching new holes in the leather, pulling the thread tight. The work is meditative, repetitive, the kind of task that lets your mind wander while your hands know what to do. The light shifts as the sun moves. You adjust, tilt the book, keep the golden glow where you need it. Without this window, you'd be hunched over a candle, squinting, rushing before the flame died. With it, you have time, patience, the ability to do this right. An hour passes, maybe 2. The book starts to come back together, spine reinforced, pages secured. It'll last another 20 years if you did it right, maybe more. The light is already different when you finish, lower, more orange than gold. The sun is starting its long slide toward evening. Your hands ache from the close work. The needle has pricked your finger twice, but the book is repaired. You work until you can't see the needle clearly anymore, until the golden light starts to fail and shadows grow long across the pages. Done. You return the book to its shelf, clean your workspace, put away the tools. Your work is finished for the day. Now there's just evening prayer, supper, then the long, cold night ahead. But first, you have maybe an hour of free time between none and vespers. The sun is low enough now that it should be hitting your cell window at the perfect angle. You head back, open your door, step inside. Oh, yes. The sun is coming through your horn window at a steep angle now, not straight on, sideways, and the light is incredible. The whole panel glows, bright yellow-orange, like the horn is on fire, like it's not reflecting light but creating it. Your entire cell is bathed in warm, golden light. The stone walls glow. The straw bed looks like actual gold. Even your shadow on the wall has a golden halo. This is the moment, the magic hour, when horn windows go from useful to beautiful. You sit on your bed, just sit, watch the light. It's warm, not actually warm. The temperature hasn't changed, but it feels warm. looks warm, makes you think warm thoughts. For maybe 15 minutes your cell is transformed, is more than a stone box, more than a survival chamber. It becomes something approaching pleasant, something you might actually choose to be in rather than just endure. The light shifts, changes, slowly dims as the sun continues its descent. The golden glow fades, returns to the normal pale yellow, then to grey, then to the gathering darkness of evening. But you had those 15 minutes, those perfect golden warm-seeming minutes, and tomorrow, if the sun shows up, if the clouds cooperate, you'll have them again. That's the deal. That's what horn windows offer. Not constant light, not perfect illumination, just moments. Brief, beautiful moments when the angle is right and the sun cooperates and dead cow parts become something like art. You stand, shake off the spell. The bell will ring soon for vespers. Time to return to reality, to cold churches and colder corridors and the endless routine of prayer. But tonight, when you come back after Compline, the horn window will still be here, won't be glowing, won't be beautiful, but it'll be blocking the wind, letting in whatever moonlight exists, doing its practical, unglamorous, essential job. And that's enough. More than enough. It's survival wrapped in the thinnest veneer of comfort. It's proof that someone somewhere figured out how to make light and warmth and protection from nothing but dead cow parts and patience. It's your window, your light, your small piece of golden glory in a world that's mostly grey and cold and hard, and you'll take it gladly. Vespers comes and goes. Evening prayer. The church is colder now. The sun has set. Whatever warmth the day built up is bleeding away into the winter night. Your cell will be freezing tonight. You know this. Everyone knows this. The earth keeps it from being deadly, but it won't be comfortable, won't be warm, just survivable, unless Brother Aldred catches you after the service. Pot night, he says. You'd forgotten. Thursday, straw day and pot night, the two things that make winter bearable. I'll get the fire started, he says. You get the pots. You head to the storage shed near the kitchen. Small building, smells like old vegetables and mice. The clay pots are stacked in the corner, heavy, thick-walled, maybe 8 inches tall, wide as your handspan, made from local clay mixed with straw, dense, designed to hold heat. You grab 2, one for you, one for Aldred, tuck them under your arms, head back out. The cold hits like a wall. The sun is gone. Temperature is dropping fast. Your breath comes out in thick clouds. By morning, it'll be below 0, maybe way below 0. The kind of cold that freezes water buckets solid, that makes the ground ring like iron when you walk on it. Aldred has set up a small fire pit behind the dormitory building, away from the main structures. Fire is dangerous. One spark in the wrong place and the whole abbey could burn. So, outside, in the open, where the wind tries to kill the flames and your hands freeze while you work. There's already a fire going. Small, controlled, just big enough. Brother Paul is here too, and Brother Marcus, and half a dozen others. All holding clay pots, all waiting their turn. This is the ritual, Thursday night, after Vespers, before Compline, the narrow window when you're allowed to warm your cells, to cheat winter for a few hours, to sleep in something approaching comfort instead of just survival. You set your pot near the fire, wait your turn. The pot needs to heat slowly, too fast, and the clay cracks, shatters, explodes sometimes, sending hot fragments everywhere. You've seen it happen. Brother John has a scar on his face from a pot that decided to become a grenade. So, slow, patient. Let the heat soak in gradually. The fire crackles, pops, wood burning, precious wood that could be used for 100 other things, but the abbot allows this. Thursday nights, a small fire to heat pots, to give the monks a fighting chance at sleep. Your pot goes on carefully, set it in the coals, not in the flames. in the hot coals around the edge, where the heat is steady, constant, where it can slowly work its way into the clay. Now you wait. Could be an hour, could be more. The clay needs to reach maybe 400 degrees, hot enough to glow, hot enough that you can't touch it with bare hands, hot enough to hurt, but not hot enough to crack. You stand near the fire. The front of your body warms up. The back of your body freezes. You turn, rotate, try to warm all sides equally. It doesn't work. It never works. You're always half warm, half frozen. Brother Paul's pot is ready first. He wraps the bottom of his habit around his hands. Thick wool, multiple layers, grabs the pot, lifts it from the coals. It glows, dull red, like a piece of the fire itself. Careful, Marcus warns. Paul nods, carries it like he's holding a baby made of pain. Walks slowly, very slowly, toward the dormitory building, disappears inside. You wait. Your pot is getting there. You can see it starting to change colour, going from brown to orangish. The heat is building, soaking into the clay, filling every tiny gap in the pottery, every air pocket, every molecule. The clay is basically a battery, a heat battery. You're charging it slowly, carefully, so that later in your frozen cell it can discharge, release that heat, keep you from dying in your sleep. 10 more minutes. The pot is glowing now, definitely glowing, red-orange, beautiful, dangerous. You wrap your hands, double layer of wool, approach the fire. The heat is brutal. Your face feels like it's sunburning, your eyes water, but you reach in, grab the pot. Hot, so hot. Even through the wool, you can feel it, like holding anger in physical form, like touching hate made solid. You lift. The pot is heavy, heavier than before, like the heat has weight. You walk, slow, steady, don't drop it, don't trip, don't do anything stupid. Into the building, down the corridor. Other monks are coming the other way, carrying their glowing pots. A procession of men bearing fire in clay vessels, like some weird religious ceremony, except it's just survival, just Thursday night. Your cell. Thank God. You push the door open with your shoulder, step inside. The pot is burning through the wool now. Your hands are screaming. You need to do this fast. The wall, the inner wall, the one that faces the corridor, it's perfect for this. Made from clay and straw, mixed thick, about 16 inches deep, pressed solid over stone. The builders knew what they were doing. This wall is designed to absorb heat, to hold it, to slowly release it through the night. You press the pot against the wall, hard. The clay hisses, smokes slightly. The wall drinks the heat. You can actually feel it happening, the pot cooling, the wall warming, the transfer of energy from vessel to building. Hold it, count to 30. Your hands are dying, the wool is starting to smell burnt, but you hold. 30. Done. You pull the pot away, set it on the floor, shake out your hands. They're red, sore, but not burned, not seriously. You've done this enough times to know the limits. The wall, you put your hand near it, not touching, just near. And yeah, there it is. Warmth. Real warmth. The clay has accepted the heat, has taken it into itself, is already starting to radiate it back. You press your palm flat against the wall, warm, actually warm, not cold, not cool, warm, like it's alive, like it has a pulse made of heat instead of blood. This will last for hours, maybe 6 hours, maybe more. The clay is thick, dense, full of tiny air pockets from the straw mixed in. Those pockets trap heat. Hold it, release it slowly. So slowly that by morning the wall will still be slightly warm, will still be giving back the energy you just gave it. You collapse onto your straw bed, your hands throb, your face feels sunburned from standing near the fire. But it's done. The pot is cooling on the floor, the wall is warming your cell, and for the first time today, you're actually genuinely warm. Not earth warm, not straw warm. actually warm. This is luxury. This is wealth. This is what nobles feel like in their castles with their massive fireplaces and their servants and their feather beds. Okay, maybe not exactly, but close enough. You lie there, face the wall. The warmth is spreading. Slowly, the heat is moving through the clay, working its way into the stone behind, into the air of the cell. You can feel the temperature rising, degree by degree. 50 degrees becomes 55, then 60, maybe 65 if you're lucky. 15 degrees of difference, 15 degrees of actual noticeable warmth. For one night, until morning, when it'll all fade away and you'll be back to earth warm and straw warm and barely surviving warm. But tonight, you're rich. The door opens. Aldred, he's carrying his pot too. Got yours in? Yeah, good. Help me with mine? You get up, still shaky from the heat and the adrenaline and the relief of not burning yourself. Aldred hands you his pot, still glowing, still hot. You carry it to his cell 2 doors down, press it to his wall, count to 30, pull it away. His wall is warming now too. 2 monks, 2 pots, 2 walls radiating heat into the frozen Yorkshire night. You return his pot. He nods. Thanks. You head back to your cell. The warmth hits you as soon as you step inside, like walking into a different world. Your cell has transformed, is no longer a cold stone box, is now something approaching pleasant, something you might actually want to be in. You sit on your bed, lean against the wall, the warm wall, close your eyes. This is the trick, the secret. The thing that keeps monks from freezing when there's no fire allowed in cells. You heat the wall itself, turn the wall into a radiator, a heater that doesn't need fuel, doesn't need tending, just sits there, glowing, giving back what you gave it. The clay was perfect for this. Clay holds heat better than stone, better than wood, better than almost anything. The ancient Romans knew this, built whole heating systems around clay and tile. But when the Romans left Britain, that knowledge left with them. Took 1,000 years to figure it out again. Some monk somewhere, maybe here at Fountains, maybe somewhere else, figured out that if you mixed clay with straw, pressed it thick over the walls, you had something that would accept heat and hold it. Something that would turn a glowing pot into hours of warmth. Simple, brilliant, dangerous, but it works. You can still see the scorch marks on the wall where the pot pressed. Dark brown, almost black, permanent. Your pot tonight added to them, made them slightly darker. Centuries of pots, centuries of monks pressing heat into clay. The marks are like fingerprints, proof that people survived here, that they figured it out, that they didn't just endure the cold but found ways to cheat it. Your hands are recovering. The pain is fading, replaced by a dull ache. Tomorrow they'll be fine. You've done this enough times. Your hands know the routine. Burn a little, recover. Do it again next week. The bell rings for Compline. Final service. Last prayer of the day. You have to go. Have to stand in the frozen church one more time, sing the night office, then you'll be free. Free to return to this warm cell, to sleep in actual comfort instead of just bare survival. You stand, touch the wall one more time, still warm, still radiating, still doing its job, out into the corridor. The cold is shocking after the warmth of your cell, like jumping into a frozen lake. You can feel the 15 degrees of difference. Your body notices immediately. Protests, wants to go back to the warm space, but duty calls, prayer calls, God calls. or whatever. At this point, you're not sure what you believe anymore. 10 years of freezing in churches will do that to a person, but you show up, you sing, you pray, you do your part. The church is empty of warmth. High ceilings, stone everywhere, wind whistling through the horn windows and the gaps in the walls, 400 monks standing and shivering and singing psalms. But you're thinking about your cell, about the warm wall waiting, about the hours of comfortable sleep ahead, about how, for once, you won't wake up at 3 a.m. frozen to the core. Tonight you'll sleep through, deep, restful, warm, that worth burnt hands, worth the danger of carrying glowing pots, worth the effort and the risk and the weekly ritual of Thursday night fires. The service ends, finally, the dismissal, the blessing, the release. You file out, faster than usual. Everyone is faster tonight. Everyone wants to return to their warm cells, to their heated walls, to their few precious hours of comfort before morning comes and it all fades away. Your cell, your door, you push it open. The warmth wraps around you like a blanket. Like coming home, like everything you've ever wanted condensed into a 7-foot wide stone box with a warm clay wall. You don't even take off your boots, just collapse onto the straw, pull your habit around you, press your back against the warm wall. Heaven, this is heaven. If heaven is a warm wall and a straw bed and the knowledge that you won't wake up frozen, if heaven is simple and practical and smells like burnt clay and wood smoke, then yeah, heaven. Your eyes close. The warmth seeps into your back, your shoulders, your neck, spreads through your whole body. You can feel your muscles relaxing, your jaw unclenching, your hands still slightly sore, going limp. Sleep comes fast, faster than usual. Deep sleep, the kind you haven't had in days, because you're warm, actually warm, for the first time since last Thursday, for the first time this week. The wall radiates, patient, steady, hours of stored heat releasing slowly, degree by degree, into the air, into your body, into the stone floor, into the straw bed, warming everything, transforming your cell from survival chamber to something approaching a real bedroom. Outside, the temperature drops, below zero, way below, the kind of cold that kills, that freezes livestock, that makes unprepared villagers into corpses by morning. Inside you're 60 degrees, maybe 65, warm enough to dream, warm enough to rest, warm enough to forget for a few hours that winter exists. The clay wall does its work, silent, uncomplaining, just being what it is, a thermal mass, a heat battery, a medieval radiator built from nothing but dirt and straw and human cleverness. Tomorrow night it'll be cold again. The heat will be gone, the wall will be back to normal, slightly warm from the earth below, but nothing special, nothing compared to tonight. But that's tomorrow. Tonight you have this warmth, this comfort, this proof that someone somewhere figured out how to beat winter with nothing but clay and patience and a willingness to carry red-hot pottery through dark corridors. You sleep, deep, warm, safe, for now, for tonight. That's enough. You wake sometime deep in the night, not from cold. That's new. Usually it's the cold that wakes you, creeping in through the straw, through the wool, through your skin, settling into your bones until your body decides sleep isn't worth freezing for. But tonight, you're still warm. The wall behind you radiates gently. The clay is still doing its job, still giving back what you gave it hours ago. You lie there, eyes open in the dark, listening. Someone is coughing. Brother Jeffrey again, 2 cells over, that wet, rattling cough that says winter is winning. You should check on him, make sure he's not dying, make sure he's at least warm enough to make it to morning. You sit up, the straw crackles, your cell has cooled some. Not back to earth temperature, but the intense warmth from earlier is fading. You have maybe another hour before it's gone completely, before you're back to regular cold. You stand. Pull on your boots properly. They'd half fallen off while you slept. Out into the corridor. The cold hits, brutal after the warmth of your cell. The corridor is maybe 30 degrees, feels like 0 after being in 65. Jeffrey's door is closed. You knock soft. Don't want to wake everyone. No answer, just more coughing. You push it open. His cell is dark. Colder than yours. His wall doesn't have the pot marks, doesn't have the scorch stains from decades of heat transfer. Either he didn't make it to the fire tonight, or he was too weak to carry his pot. Jeffrey, more coughing. Then, William? Yeah, you all right? Alive. Barely. You feel your way forward. Find his straw bed. He's curled up, shaking. Even in the dark, you can tell he's bad. The cough has gotten worse, and he's cold. His cell is an icebox. You didn't do your pot tonight. Couldn't, he says between coughs. Too weak. Tried. Couldn't carry it. Damn. That's the problem with the pot system. You have to be strong enough to do it, healthy enough. If you're sick, if you're injured, if you're old and feeble, you're out of luck. You freeze. Stay here, you say, not going anywhere. You head back to your cell, grab your thin wool blanket, the one covering you use over the straw. Not much, but better than nothing. Back to Jeffrey's cell, drape it over him. Thanks, he whispers. You need the infirmary. In the morning. Can't walk now. You sit with him. Just sit. In the dark. Listening to him cough and shake and fight to breathe. This is how monks die. Not dramatically. Not in battle or glory. Just slowly. Cold seeping in. Lungs failing. Body giving up. Tell me about Brittany, he says suddenly. What? You went there? Years ago. Tell me about the beds. Oh, right. You'd forgotten you told him that story. Back when you first arrived at Fountains, you'd spent a year travelling, visiting other monasteries, learning how different places survived winter. Brittany was one stop. Northern France. Cold as hell, but they had something you'd never seen before. The box beds, you say. Yeah, those. You lean back against Jeffrey's cold wall. Remember that monastery in Brittany. Small place, poor, but smart. They had these beds built right into the walls, wooden boxes like coffins standing upright, but bigger, designed for sleeping. They were like small rooms, you tell him. Wooden walls on all sides. A door you could slide shut, big enough for one person, maybe two if you squeezed. You'd climb in, close the door, and basically seal yourself in a box. Jeffrey coughs. Sounds horrible. Sounds like it. But it worked. The monk who showed me, he climbed in while I watched, slid the door shut. I waited outside. After about 10 minutes, he opened it back up. His face was red, sweating, actually sweating, in the middle of winter. How? Body heat. That's it. You're in this tiny space, maybe a cubic meter of air. Your body heats it, fast, and the wood traps it, keeps it from escaping. You're basically sleeping in your own warmth. Better than this, Jeffrey says. He's shivering harder now. Different trade-off. You're warm, yeah, but you're also trapped in a box, breathing the same air all night. It gets damp, stuffy. The monk said some people can't handle it, feel like they're suffocating. Wake up panicked. I'd take it. You'd take anything right now. He laughs, turns into a coughing fit. When it subsides, he says, "What else did you see? Other places? Other ways to survive?" You think? Those travelling years before you settled at Fountains, you saw a lot, tried a lot. Some things worked, some didn't. Scotland, you say, up in the Hebrides, visited a fishing village. They had box beds too, but different, bigger, built into the walls of their homes. Families slept in them, parents and children. all together, keeping each other warm. All together? Yeah, the mother would climb in with the youngest kids, father with the older ones. They'd close the wooden panels, sleep piled on top of each other like puppies, not comfortable, but warm. We're not allowed that, Geoffrey says. The touching, against the rule. I know, they weren't monks, just people trying not to die. You remember those Scottish beds, saw them in someone's home, stone cottage, freezing cold. But those beds built right into the wall, lined with wool scraps. They were warm. The woman who lived there showed you, opened the panel, inside was dark, smelled like sheep and people, and warmth. She was proud of it, said her grandfather built it, said it saved them every winter. The beds had drawers underneath, you continue, pull-out sections for extra kids or guests. The whole thing was like furniture and bedroom combined. Smart design, space-efficient and warm. Geoffrey is quiet, breathing hard. You wonder if he's fallen asleep. Still with me? You ask. Yeah. Keep talking. Distracts from the cold. So, you do. You tell him about the box beds in the Netherlands, the ones you heard about from a travelling merchant. Apparently whole families lived in single rooms. The beds were built into cupboards, looked like wardrobes from the outside, but open them up and there's a sleeping space. Close the doors and you're sealed in. Warm, private, hidden. Privacy, Geoffrey says. What's that? You laugh. Something we don't have. Monks don't get privacy, don't get personal space. You sleep in identical cells, eat in a common room, pray together, work together, pee in a shared latrine that's basically a stone bench with holes over a stream. Privacy is for rich people, for nobles, for anyone who's not a monk. But those box beds offered something like it, a space that was yours, even if just for sleeping, a box you could close, where you controlled the environment, where you could be alone with your breath and your warmth and your thoughts. The wealthy monks have them, Geoffrey says. What? The abbot, the prior, they have box beds. Saw one once, when I was helping clean the abbot's house. He's got this massive thing, carved oak, beautiful, takes up half his bedroom, but it's the same principle. Seal yourself in, sleep warm. You didn't know that. Makes sense though. The higher-ups always have it better. Better food, better quarters, better survival tools. That's how hierarchy works, even in a monastery that's supposed to be about equality and simplicity. Does it have doors, you ask? Sliding panels? Painted, religious scenes, saints and angels, expensive work. Of course it does. Geoffrey coughs again, longer this time. When he stops, his breathing is ragged, wet. You can hear fluid in his lungs. Not good, really not good. You're going to the infirmary at dawn, you say. I'll help you walk. All right. You sit with him until his breathing evens out, until he falls asleep or passes out. Hard to tell in the dark, but he's not coughing anymore. That's something. You head back to your cell, your door, still warm when you step inside. The clay wall is cooler now, but still radiating. You have maybe an hour left, maybe less. You lie down. Think about those box beds, about sleeping in a wooden coffin every night, closing yourself in, breathing damp air, but being warm, actually, genuinely warm. Would you trade your cold cell with its clever earth sheltering and weekly straw changes and Thursday pot nights for a wooden box you climb into and seal shut? You're not sure. Both systems work, both keep people alive, but they're different approaches, different trade-offs. The box bed is warmer, more consistent. You don't need special heating nights, don't need to carry glowing pots. Just climb in and your body does the work. But you also lose something, the space, the air, the feeling of sleeping in a room instead of a coffin. Some people couldn't handle it. The monk in Brittany said they tried it with all the brothers. Half of them refused after the first night, said they'd rather freeze than sleep in a box, said it felt like being being buried alive. The other half loved it, slept better than they had in years, warm through the night, no waking up frozen, no morning stiffness from cold muscles. Different people, different needs, different fears. You're glad fountains went with the earth shelter design instead. The half-underground cells, the thick walls, the low ceilings. It's not perfect. You're cold most of the time, but you have space, air, the ability to move, to stretch out, to not feel trapped. Though on nights like tonight, when your hands still ache from carrying a glowing pot, when your face still feels sunburned from standing near the fire, when you know in a few hours the warmth will be gone and you'll be back to just surviving temperatures, those box beds sound pretty good. Climb in, close the door, let your body do the heating. Simple, safe, no fire involved, no risk of burns or explosions or dropping a red-hot pot on your foot. Just wood and warmth and the willingness to sleep in a coffin every night. You drift. The warmth is fading now. You can feel it. Degree by degree, the clay has given what it can. By morning, the wall will be back to normal. Stone and earth temperature. 50 degrees. Survivable, but not comfortable. But you had tonight. Had those hours of real warmth, of sleeping deeply, of forgetting that winter exists. Your mind wanders back to those box beds. You can't help it. They fascinate you. The idea of sleeping in a box every night, the psychology of it, the trust required. That Scottish woman, the one who showed you her family's bed, she'd climbed inside to demonstrate, pulled the wooden panels closed behind her. You stood outside, waiting, listening, could hear her breathing, moving around, getting comfortable in that dark, enclosed space. "How is it?" you'd asked through the wood. "Oh, warm already," she'd said. "Can you feel it?" You'd put your hand on the outside panel. Wood, just wood, but it was warm to the touch. Her body heat trapped inside, warming the air, warming the wood, warming everything in that tiny sealed space. "It's like being in a hug," she'd said, "all night. A wooden hug that keeps the cold away." Then she'd opened the panel, climbed out. Her face was flushed, red, sweating slightly. She'd only been in there 3 minutes, but the effect was obvious. That small space had captured and concentrated her body heat, turned it into warmth that would last all night. "My children fight over who gets the warmest spot," she'd said. "The youngest, they sleep in the middle, between the older ones. They say it's like sleeping in summer." You'd asked about the moisture, the condensation, because that's what happens when warm breath meets cold wood. Water forms, drips, makes everything damp. "Oh, it happens," she'd admitted. "The inside gets wet, the panels especially. We wipe them down each morning, dry them as best we can, but in deep winter they stay damp, sometimes freeze at the edges where the seals aren't perfect. Doesn't that ruin the wood?" "Eventually, we replace panels every few years, but wood is cheaper than death, so..." She'd shrugged. Practical, matter of fact, the way people are when they've solved a problem and moved on. You'd looked inside the box bed, seen the wool scraps lining the bottom, bits of cloth along the walls, every surface covered with something soft, something that would trap heat and absorb moisture. Makeshift insulation from whatever materials they had. "We pack straw in the gaps," she'd explained. "Between the wood and the wall, extra layer, keeps drafts out, keeps warmth in. Nothing fancy, just whatever works." The bed had a small shelf inside, near where your head would be, for a candle maybe, or a prayer book, or just something to hold while you settled in for the night. A reminder that you weren't in a coffin. You were in a bed, a strange, enclosed, coffin-like bed, but still a bed. "Do you dream different?" you'd asked. "In there?" She'd laughed. What a question. No, same dreams. Maybe warmer dreams. Dreams where I'm not running from cold, where I'm not freezing. Does that count as different? Probably. You dream about cold all the time here, about ice, about snow, about endless winter. Your dreams are cold because your body is cold. Even asleep, even dreaming, you're aware of the temperature. It seeps into your unconscious, colours everything. But in a box bed, warm all night, maybe your dreams would be different. Warmer, calmer, less desperate. You shift on your straw. The warmth from the wall is almost gone now. You're back to earth temperature, back to regular cold. The brief respite is ending. Tomorrow you'll check on Jeffrey, make sure he gets to the infirmary. The bell for matins will ring in a few hours, then the whole cycle starts again. You pull your habit tighter, curl into the straw, find the position that holds heat best. Knees tucked, arms crossed, head down. This is how you'll sleep for the next 6 nights, in slowly decreasing comfort as the straw flattens and the earth's warmth stays steady but insufficient. But next Thursday, you'll have warmth again. Real warmth. The kind that makes you forget winter exists. Until then, you endure, like you always do, like everyone here does. Your eyes close, sleep returns, and somewhere in the dark you're grateful for this cell, this system, this medieval survival dance that keeps you breathing. And next Thursday you'll do it again. The pot, the fire, the careful carrying, the pressed heat, the warm night, the weekly cycle of survival until spring, until the world warms up and you don't need clever solutions and desperate measures, until survival becomes easy again. But that's months away. For now, you have this. Your cell, your earth-sheltered, straw-bedded, horn-windowed, clay-walled cell. Your survival pod, your medieval solution to an eternal problem. It's not a box bed, not a coffin you seal yourself into, not a wooden chamber where breath becomes fire. But it's yours. You understand it. Know its rhythms, its limits, its gifts. And tonight, wrapped in the fading warmth of a clay wall that remembers fire, that's enough, more than enough. Your eyes close, sleep returns, lighter now, the kind that knows morning is coming, that knows the cold is waiting. But for now, for these last warm hours, you rest. Deep in your half-buried cell, safe in your earth shelter, grateful for solutions you never knew existed until you needed them. Matins comes too soon. Always does. 3 hours of sleep, maybe 4 if you're lucky. Then the bell rings and your body screams in protest. Wants more rest, more warmth, more anything except standing in a frozen church at 3 in the morning. But you go, because you always go. Jeffrey doesn't. You notice his absence immediately. His spot in the church is empty. Either he made it to the infirmary or he's still in his cell. Either way, he's not here. That's probably smart. Pushing through sickness in this cold is how you die faster. The service drags. Psalms, responses, more psalms. Your feet go numb, your hands, your face. The cold is everywhere. High ceilings mean all the heat. What little exists from body warmth and breath rises and disappears. You're just standing in a stone refrigerator singing Latin. Finally, the dismissal. But instead of heading back to your cell, the monks turn left, toward the south range. Toward the one room in the entire abbey where warmth is allowed to exist outside of Thursday pot nights. The calefactory, the warming house, the single greatest luxury in monastic life. You follow the procession, down the corridor, through the cloister. The calefactory is in its own building, separate from everything else. Fire safety, probably. One building burns, the rest survive. The door's already open. You can see the glow from here. Orange, warm, inviting, like salvation in architectural form. You step inside and the heat hits you like a physical thing, like walking into summer, like being hugged by warmth itself. The fireplace is massive, takes up the entire north wall, 8 feet wide, 6 feet tall, big enough to roast a whole ox if you wanted. But tonight it's just wood, lots of wood, burning steady, putting out heat that actually matters, heat that transforms the space, that makes life bearable. The room is already full, monks everywhere, sitting on the floor, leaning against walls, crowded around the fire like it's the only thing keeping them alive, which it basically is. You find a spot, near the fire but not too close and you'll burn, too far and you won't benefit. There's a sweet spot, maybe 6 feet from the flames, where the heat is intense but not painful. You sit, cross your legs, hold your hands out toward the fire. Oh, that's good. The heat soaks into your palms, your fingers, works its way up your arms, into your chest, your face. Everything that was frozen starts to thaw, to remember what warm feels like. Brother Aldred sits next to you. Best part of the day, he says. Only good part, you reply. He laughs, holds his own hands toward the flames. His fingers are twisted, arthritis. Winter makes it worse. The cold gets into his joints, makes them ache, makes simple tasks like holding a quill or lifting a cup nearly impossible. But here, in the calefactory, with the fire working its magic, his hands start to relax. You can see it happening, the fingers uncurling slightly, the tension releasing. How long do we have, you ask? An hour, maybe 2, until prime. Then we go back out into the cold. An hour, 2 if you're lucky. That's all you get, all any of you get, because wood is expensive, because fire is dangerous, because the abbot says so. The calefactory is lit from November 1st until Good Friday. Every night after matins, for a brief, precious window of warmth before you have to face the cold again. You lean back, close your eyes, just feel the heat. It's doing things to your body, important things. Your muscles are relaxing, your blood is flowing better, your heart rate is slowing. The tension you carry all day, every day from fighting the cold, it's melting away. This is the strategy. The trick, the thing that makes winter survivable. You time it carefully. You come here after matins, warm yourself by the fire, get your core temperature up, your hands and feet warm, your face thawed, and then, while you're still warm, you go to bed. You carry that warmth with you, back to your cell, into your straw bed, and you hold on to it for as long as possible. If you go to bed cold, you stay cold all night. Your body burns energy trying to warm up, burns calories you don't have, wears you down. But if you go to bed warm, your body just maintains, holds steady, you sleep deeper, better, wake up less frozen. It's science, body temperature, heat retention. The monks figured it out centuries ago, maybe by accident, maybe by necessity, but they know. Warm yourself before sleep, then sleep while you're still warm. Simple, obvious, life-saving. Brother Thomas is closer to the fire, too close. His face is red, sweating. He'll regret that later. Get too hot and you'll be uncomfortable, restless, can't sleep. There's a balance. You want warm, not hot. You shift, adjust your position. The heat is penetrating your wool habit now, getting through to your skin. Your undershirt is warming up. Soon it'll be holding heat, storing it, insulating you. Remember to do your wrap, Aldred says. Right, the wrap, the other trick, the thing the old Yorkshire monks wrote down in manuscripts, instructions for surviving the coldest nights, sleep within thine own breath. Weird phrase, but practical, real. You've done it dozens of times, hundreds, probably. You reach up, pull a strip of linen from inside your habit. Every monk carries one, a long strip of thin cloth, maybe 3 feet long, a foot wide, rough linen, not fancy, but essential. You drape it over your head, Let it hang down over your shoulders. Cover your mouth and nose loosely. Not tight, not suffocating, just there, creating a pocket of air around your face. The idea is simple. When you breathe, you exhale warm, moist air. That air usually just disappears into the cold room, wasted. But if you trap it, if you catch it with cloth, it stays near your face, warms the air you're about to breathe in, creates a microclimate, a tiny bubble of warmth in a frozen world. Moist air holds heat better than dry air. Your breath is moist, so the linen trap creates this warm, damp pocket around your face. It's not comfortable, feels claustrophobic at first, but it works. Keeps your face warm, keeps your nose from freezing, keeps your lungs from hurting every time you inhale. Modern people would call it a breath warmer, a face mask. The monks just call it survival. You adjust the linen, make sure it's positioned right, covers your mouth and nose but doesn't block your eyes. You need to see, need to walk back to your cell without tripping. The corridor is dark, full of other monks doing the same thing. All of you draped in linen, all of you looking like ghosts or plague victims, all of you just trying not to freeze. The fire crackles, pops, a log shifts, sparks fly up, disappear into the chimney. The warmth continues, steady, reliable. This is the only fire allowed to burn all night. Well, this and the kitchen fire, but the kitchen is for cooking, for the brothers who work there, not for regular monks like you. This fire is yours, communal, shared by 400 men who take turns crowding around it, who time their warmth, who plan their sleep around these brief minutes of heat. You stay for another 20 minutes. Let the warmth build. Let your body absorb everything it can. Your hands are red now, hot. Your face feels flushed under the linen. Your feet, still in their leather boots, are actually warm. The leather has heated up, is radiating warmth to your toes. Around you, the other monks are doing the same thing. Silent. The rule forbids talking after compline until after prime. But you don't need words. Everyone knows what this is. Everyone understands the ritual. Brother Paul is rotating slowly, like meat on a spit, warming all sides. His back must have been frozen from the church service. Now he's letting the fire work on it. You can see steam rising from his wool habit, moisture evaporating, ice crystals melting. He's been that cold. Someone coughs. Brother Edmund, probably. His ankle is still bad. He's sitting close to the fire, too close. His face is bright red, sweating, but he doesn't move, doesn't care. The warmth is worth the discomfort. The heat is healing something in him. Maybe not the ankle, but something. The room smells like wool and smoke and unwashed bodies. Not pleasant, but familiar, comforting even. This is what survival smells like, what community smells like. 400 men sharing one fire, one room, one chance at warmth before bed. The walls of the calefactory are stone, but different from your cell. These walls have absorbed decades of heat, maybe centuries. The stone itself radiates warmth, not much, but enough that standing near wall is warmer than standing in the corridor. The building remembers every fire, holds on to it, gives it back slowly. You shift position, let the fire warm your other side, your left shoulder, your left leg. Everything needs heat. Everything is owed warmth after hours in the frozen church. This is as good as it gets. Maximum warmth, peak temperature. This is the moment, the window, the time to move. You stand, Aldred stands too. Together you head for the door. Other monks are leaving as well, the ones who got here earliest, who warmed themselves first. Now they're carrying that heat back to their cells, timing it perfectly. Out into the corridor. The cold tries to steal your warmth immediately, attacks from all sides, but you're ready. Your body is a furnace right now, burning hot from the fire. The cold can't penetrate fast, can't get through your heated habit and your warm skin and your core temperature that's been boosted by sitting near flames for half an hour. You walk fast. not running. Running in a dark corridor full of monks is asking for a broken leg, but fast, purpose-driven. Every second counts. Every moment that passes, you're losing heat to the air around you. Your cell, finally. You push the door open, step inside, close it behind you. The cell is cold. Earth temperature, 50 degrees, but you're 70 degrees, maybe 80. You're a walking heater. The difference is shocking, like jumping from summer to winter in one step. But you expected this, planned for it. Your body is ready. You don't waste time. Straight to the straw bed. But first, quickly, you shake out the linen wrap. It's already damp from your breath in the calefactory. You need it positioned right. Need it ready. You lie down immediately. Pull your habit around you. The wool is still warm from the fire, still holding heat. You can feel it, like wearing a blanket fresh from the dryer, except there are no dryers, just fire, just wool that remembers flames. Adjust the linen over your face, not too tight, just draped, covering your nose and mouth, creating that pocket, that space where your breath can work its magic. Tuck your hands under your arms. Classic warmth preservation. Your armpits are the warmest part of your body right now. Tucking your hands there shares that warmth, keeps your fingers from freezing while you sleep. Curl into the heat-preserving position, knees to chest, head down, minimizing surface area. Less skin exposed to air means less heat lost. Basic survival geometry. The straw crackles. Your warm body is radiating heat into it. The hollow stalks are absorbing it, holding it. You can actually feel it happening. The straw beneath you warming up, creating a warm layer between you and the cold earth below. This is perfect. This is the ideal scenario. Hot body plus fresh straw plus linen wrap plus earth-sheltered cell. All the systems working together, all the techniques stacking. If you were going to design a medieval survival strategy, this would be it. You breathe. The linen catches your breath, warms it, feeds it back to you. Slightly warmer, slightly more comfortable. You're breathing your own warmth, recycling it, using it twice. This is the survival dance, the combination of techniques, earth-sheltered cell plus straw bed plus fire-warmed body plus linen breath trap, all working together, all stacking, creating enough warmth to sleep, to rest, to survive until morning. Your body starts to cool, slowly. You can feel it, degree by degree, but it's okay. You went to bed hot, you have a buffer. Time, 2 hours, maybe 3 before you're back to normal temperature. 2 hours of deep, warm sleep before the cold catches up. That's the trick. That's the genius. You don't stay warm all night. That's impossible without fire in the cell, but you buy time. You front-load the warmth, start hot, let it fade gradually. By the time you're cold again, you've already slept, already rested, already given your body what it needs. The linen is damp now from your breath. You can feel it, wet, heavy, but also warm. The moisture is holding heat, creating that microclimate, that pocket of survivable air around your face. Your eyes close. The warmth wraps around you. Not external warmth from a fire or a pot or the earth. Internal warmth, your own body heat, preserved, protected, managed through simple techniques that have kept monks alive for centuries. Sleep comes fast. Deep sleep, the kind your body craves, the kind that only happens when you're warm and safe and not fighting to survive every second. The calefactory strategy works. Fire before bed, warmth carried in your body, heat released slowly into straw and air, breath recycled through linen. Simple, low-tech, no special equipment needed except wood and cloth and the discipline to time it right. Tomorrow night you'll do it again. After matins, to the calefactory. Warm yourself. Walk fast to your cell. Go to bed hot. Sleep while you can. Every night, until spring, until the world warms up. You don't need tricks and strategies and desperate measures until survival becomes easy, but that's tomorrow, and the night after, and every night for the next 3 months. For now, you have this moment, this warmth, this sleep, this proof that humans are incredibly good at figuring out how to not die, even in stone cells, even in Yorkshire winter, even when everything is stacked against you. You drift deeper. The warmth fades, but slowly, so slowly, your body gives it up reluctantly, parting with each degree of heat like it's precious, because it is. In the dark, in the cold, in the half-buried cell that's been your home for 10 years, you sleep. Warm enough, safe enough, alive enough. And somewhere across the abbey, in the calefactory, the fire still burns, still provides, still offers its brief gift of warmth to the next wave of frozen monks who need it. The cycle continues, will continue, has always continued, as long as there are winters and monks and the understanding that survival isn't about comfort, it's about timing, strategy, making the most of what you have when you have it. Sleep within thine own breath. Stay warm while you can. Carry fire in your body when fire in your cell is forbidden. Simple instructions, medieval wisdom, life-saving knowledge passed down through generations of men who learned, slowly, painfully, that winter can be beaten, not conquered, never conquered, but beaten back, survived, endured, one warm night at a time. You wake to grey light, not the bell, not the cold, just light, slow, soft, creeping through your horn window like it's apologizing for existing. Dawn. Maybe. Hard to tell in winter. The sun barely bothers to show up, just sends this weak, pale excuse for light and calls it morning. You don't move yet, just lie there, check your body, take inventory. Hands, cold but not frozen. You can feel your fingers, wiggle them, that's good. Feet, numb. But that's normal. Always the feet. They'll wake up when you start moving. Face? The linen wrap is damp. Wet, actually, from a night of breathing into it. But your face is warm, warmer than it should be. The wrap worked, did its job, kept your nose from freezing off while you slept. You pull the linen away, the air hits your face, cold, sharp, makes your eyes water, but you're awake now, can't hide under cloth forever. The straw beneath you has compacted some, not flat yet, still has a few days left before Thursday comes around again, but definitely less springy than yesterday. Your body has pressed it down through the night, found every hollow, filled every gap. You sit up slowly. Your back protests. Sleeping on straw for 10 years means your back always protests, but it's manageable, the kind of ache you've learned to ignore. The cell is holed, back to 50 degrees. The warmth from the calefactory is long gone, burned off hours ago. Your body temperature returned to normal sometime in the night. Now you're just another cold monk in a cold cell in a cold abbey in Yorkshire. But you made it, survived another night. That's something. You stand, stretch, touch your toes. Well, try to. Your body doesn't bend like it used to. 10 years of this life has made you stiff, old before your time. You're 35 but feel 50. The horn window glows slightly, that pale winter light. Not much, but enough to see by. Enough to know the night is over. You think about the cycle, the survival dance you do every single day. Wake up cold, go to church colder, come back to your cell, find small warmth in the earth below and around you, change your straw on Thursdays, heat your wall with pots on Thursday nights, warm yourself by the fire after matins, wrap your face in linen, sleep while you're still warm, repeat forever, until spring, until death, whichever comes first. It's not a good system, not comfortable, not pleasant. But it works. You're alive. After 10 winters, you're still breathing, still moving, still showing up to prayer services and meals and all the things monks do. That's success in medieval terms. In survival terms, you haven't frozen, haven't gotten sick and died, haven't given up and walked away into the snow never to return. You figured it out, the tricks, the strategies, the small things that add up to staying alive. Earth-sheltered cells, straw beds, horn windows, clay walls, hot pots, communal fires, breath wraps. None of it is comfortable. None of it is what you'd choose if you had better options. But you don't have better options. This is it. This is medieval winter survival. And it works. You pull on your boots properly. They'd loosened during the night. You lace them, stand, walk to the door. The corridor is full of monks, everyone heading to prime, dawn prayer, the service that starts the official day, everyone looking tired, cold, ready for this winter to be over. Brother Geoffrey isn't here. You notice immediately. His cell door is closed. Either he's still in the infirmary or he's worse. You'll check after prime, make sure someone is taking care of him. The procession moves, slow, shuffling, a river of cold monks flowing toward a colder church. The routine, the rhythm, the endless cycle of prayer and survival. You fall in line, your spot, your place. After 10 years, your feet know where to go. The church is exactly as cold as you expected. High ceilings, stone everywhere, no warmth, just duty and psalms and standing until your legs ache. But you're thinking about tonight, about the next cycle, about how you'll do it all again, the calefactory, the warmth, the careful walk back to your cell, the curled position, the breath wrap, because that's what survival is, not one big solution, just small things, done repeatedly, forever, until they become automatic, until you don't even think about them anymore. The service ends, breakfast, bread and weak beer. The refectory is marginally warmer than the church. You eat, you drink, you don't talk. The rule says silence until after terce. After breakfast, you head to the infirmary, the building on the east side, where sick monks go to either recover or die. Brother Geoffrey is there, in a bed, actual bed, with blankets. The infirmary is one of the few heated rooms, has a fireplace, burns all winter, because sick people need warmth to heal, or at least to die comfortably. Geoffrey is awake, sees you, smiles weakly. "Still alive?" he says. "Barely. Better than the alternative." You sit with him, just sit. No words needed. He's warm here, has blankets, has fire, has care. This is luxury. This is what being sick gets you. Better conditions than being healthy. Ironic. The brother's treating you well, you ask. Feeding me broth, keeping the fire going, can't complain. You'll be back in your cell soon. Maybe. Or maybe I'll just stay sick forever. This is nice. You laugh. He laughs, turns into coughing, but it sounds better, less wet, less dying. Maybe he'll make it. Maybe winter won't claim him this year. You stay until the bell rings for terce, then you have to go. Duty calls, prayer calls, the routine that never ends. Back to the church, back to the cold, back to standing and singing and pretending this is all normal, that this is how life should be. But in your head, you're thinking about tonight, about your cell, about the straw bed waiting, about the earth below holding its steady 50 degrees, about the horn window that'll glow golden if the sun cooperates, about the small comforts that make this life possible. And you're thinking about the people listening to this story right now, in their beds, their actual beds, with mattresses and pillows and blankets that don't smell like sheep, and central heating, and walls that aren't half underground, and windows made of actual glass. You're thinking about how easy they have it, how warm they are, how comfortable, how they'll never know what it's like to carry a glowing pot with wrapped hands, to sleep on straw, to breathe into linen just to keep your face from freezing. They have it so good, so incredibly, impossibly good, and maybe they don't even realize it. Maybe they take it for granted. The warmth, the comfort, the fact that they can adjust a thermostat instead of digging their sleeping quarters into the ground. But that's okay. That's human nature. You get used to comfort. Forget that it wasn't always this way. Forget that for most of history, staying warm meant work, meant strategy, meant accepting discomfort as the price of survival. You had no fires in your cell, no blankets, no glass, no easy solutions. Just earth and straw and horn and clay and desperate cleverness. And you survived. Not comfortably, not happily, but you survived. That's the point of all this. The story, the details, the careful explanation of every technique to show that humans are incredibly good at not dying, even when everything is terrible, even when the odds are stacked against them, even when comfort isn't an option. You find solutions, build systems, stack small advantages until they add up to something approaching livable. The service ends, you file out, back to work, the day's tasks, the garden, the copying, the endless maintenance that keeps the abbey running. But tonight, after Compline, after the last service, you'll return to your cell and you'll be grateful for the earth, for the straw, for the horn window, for every small thing that keeps you alive. Because that's what it is. Gratitude, not for comfort, for survival, for the fact that someone, somewhere, long before you, figured out how to beat winter without modern technology, without easy answers, just patience, observation, trial and error, and the willingness to sleep on grass, and breathe into cloth, and carry red-hot pottery through dark corridors. Your cell is waiting, will always be waiting, your small, dark, half-buried sanctuary, your proof that survival is possible, that humans are tougher than winter, that clever beats comfortable every time. Tonight you'll sleep there, in the straw under wool, with linen over your face, and you'll be fine. Not warm, not comfortable, but fine, alive, still breathing, still fighting. That's enough. The day passes, slowly, as winter days do, grey, cold, endless, but eventually the sun sets, the light fades, Compline comes, one last service, one last hour of standing in the frozen church, then release, freedom, sleep. You file out with the others, head to the calefactory, one last warming, one last fire, building up heat for the night ahead. The ritual repeats. Sit by the fire, absorb warmth, time it carefully, leave at peak temperature, walk fast, get to your cell, go to bed hot. And as you lie there, in the dark, in the cold that's slowly returning, in the straw that crackles softly beneath you, you think about all of it. The whole system, the complete survival strategy. Earth holds you. 50 degrees, patient, steady, never changing. Straw cushions you, traps air, keeps the earth's cold from stealing your warmth. Horn lets in light, blocks wind, glows gold when the sun hits it right. Clay walls accept heat, hold it, release it slowly through the night. Fire warms you, once a week with pots, every night in the calefactory, brief moments of actual warmth. Linen catches your breath, recycles your heat, keeps your face from freezing. All of it together, all of it working, all of it barely enough, but enough. You made it through another day, another night, another cycle of cold and survival and small victories. Tomorrow you'll do it again, and the day after, until spring, until winter releases its grip, until survival becomes easy again. But for now, you rest, you sleep, you let your body recover from the constant fight against cold, and maybe, just maybe, you're a little bit grateful for the warm bed you're in right now, not your straw bed in Yorkshire, your actual bed, the one with the mattress and the blankets and the thermostat on the wall, the one that's so comfortable you might not even notice it, might take it for granted, might forget how lucky you are. But tonight, maybe you remember, maybe you appreciate it, maybe you sink a little deeper into your pillow and think, damn, this is nice. this is really, really nice, because it is, compared to straw and stone and 50 degrees and sleeping in your work clothes with a